Greetings aspirants, welcome to Narayana IAS. This is Karthik Moni. I'm here for daily news analysis. For today's session, I have picked up 5 important articles from Hindu as well as Indian Express. The first article is about the basic details about the cyclone, the formation, dissipation and the structure of cyclone. And second article is about aspirational district program. So even though this topic covers under the prelims part, I have covered in such a way that how the role of CCC model will help in implementation of welfare programs. So third article is about the need to transform the agri-food system, and fourth article is about the recent spike in corporate bond market, and finally we are going to discuss the recent crime in India report released by NCRB. In that I am going to highlight the spike in cyber crime related cases, and it spiked up to 25%. So these are the articles which we are going to discuss today. Coming to the first article, we have a cyclone monsoon. Exam point of view, we can expect some question related to the cyclone and also the formation of the cyclones. We also had a previous year question related to the cyclone. So first statement is about the jet stream, and second and third statement is related to the cyclone. So combination of the phenomena can also be possible. We can expect some similar questions in the upcoming examination as well. So that's why we are discussing this topic. So coming to the context, recently the northern districts of Tamil Nadu and also the southern parts of Andhra Pradesh, the coastal southern districts of Andhra Pradesh experienced devastated torrential rain because of this cyclone. So here the name was proposed by the Myanmar, so which means resilience and fortitude. So when it comes to the naming, so 13 countries are there. So littoral countries of the Indian Ocean will propose the name. Each country will propose 13 names. So totally 169 names are there. So the name will be selected on the rotational basis. This time Myanmar came up with a name called Mincho. So this is the idea in terms of naming. So from this context, we have to know about the cyclone, the formation and also the characteristics and its dissipation. So what are cyclones? Cyclones are large scale systems of air that rotate around the center of the low pressure area, characterized by inward spiraling of wind, rotating in a counterclockwise direction in the northern hemisphere and a clockwise direction in the southern hemisphere. Right? So each and every word is important from the examination. So low pressure, inward spiraling of the wind, inward spiraling of the wind, right? And also counterclockwise in northern hemisphere and clockwise in southern hemisphere. So here the rotation, inward spiraling and this difference. So all because of Coriolis effects. So here we have to know about what is meant by Coriolis effect. So Coriolis effect is nothing but it is the bending of the air mass when it moves from equator to poles. For example, if an air mass is moving towards pole from the equator, the air tends to bend towards right in the northern hemisphere, and also it tends to bend towards left in the southern hemisphere because of the rotation of the earth. This bending of the air mass is what we call it as Coriolis force or Coriolis effect. So the existence of Coriolis force is very much important for the formation of tropical cyclones. So next we have to know that the tropical cyclones do not form within the latitude of 5-degree latitudes of equator due to the lack of sufficient Coriolis force. So when it comes to the formation, two things are important. So one is temperature, another one is Coriolis force. So two things are important. So these are the two factors will determine the location of the tropical cyclone. For example, so the formation of tropical cyclone is possible in tropics, but it is not possible in temperate region and also not possible in equatorial region. Why not in the temperate region is because of the temperature. So temperature is not adequate enough for the generation of pressure gradient force. It's one reason. And also second thing is that the planetary winds are not favorable for the formation of tropical cyclone. Two aspects. So here we have to know about pressure gradient force. So pressure gradient. So formation of two different poles in terms of pressure. High pressure, low pressure. So because of the development of two different pressure poles, there will be a movement of wind from high pressure to low pressure. So the force created between the two different pressure poles is what we call it as pressure gradient force. Because of this force only, the wind moves from high pressure to low pressure, right? So here, for this pressure gradient force development, we need thermal gradient. Yes, high temperature is needed for low pressure, low temperature is needed for high pressure. So this temperature gradient is very much important for the generation of this pressure gradient force. Now we have to think, this is India, this is Indian Ocean. So for example, here we are having the development of low pressure. So this low pressure development is because of the differential heating of land and water. Differential heating of land and water. Yes, land tend to heat and cool quickly when compared to water. So because of this, during winter, the land will be cooler in nature, whereas water is warmer in nature. So warm water led to the formation of low pressure. So here, wind tend to get attracted because of this pressure gradient force. Yes, low pressure is developed, and this low pressure will attract the nearby air mass, and because of this attraction, and in addition to the Coriolis effect, the wind tend to bend towards the right in the northern hemisphere, and once it reaches this place, it tends to get repulled into the low pressure region. So in this aspect, it will set the circulation of the air mass. So here, the difference in the pressure gradient, that is development of low pressure, will attract the air mass. The bending because of the Coriolis effect will set the circulation of the cyclone, and in this aspect, the circulation will get formed. So now we have to know about the conditions for the formation. So here, large sea surface with the temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. Yes, 27 degrees Celsius. So this temperature is very much important for the development of low pressure. So that's why the tropical cyclones are not developed in the temperate region. That is one thing. And also equatorial region, it is not developed. Even though temperature is there, it is not developed because Coriolis effect is inadequate, because that bending is very much needed for the establishment of circulation system, right? So large sea surface temperature, that is there, and then pre-existence of weak low pressure area, weak low pressure zone development should be there, then only the attraction will be there, the pressure gradient force will be there, then only the wind movement will be there. So existence of low pressure development, presence of Coriolis force, yes, for bending, and also small variation in the vertical wind speed. So here it is nothing but the vertical wind shear. So vertical wind shear is nothing but, okay, for example, if you are considering the movement of wind like this, so we'll have different layers from the height. So bottom layer, wind speed is different, intermediate layer, the wind speed and direction is different, and top layer, the wind speed is and the direction is different. This difference of speed and the direction is what we call it as vertical wind shear. So this is also very much important for the establishment of circulation. So Coriolis force and slight vertical wind shear is needed for the formation of cyclone. So these two also important. Finally, upper air divergence. Yes, convergence is happening at the lower level. So it has to ascend and then it has to diverge on the upper atmosphere. So this upper atmospheric divergence is also inevitable for the development of tropical cyclones. So now coming to the structure of the cyclone. So we have eye and the eye wall. So eye is nothing but the central part. So this central part is what we call it as eye, and this outer region is what we call it as eye wall, right? We have two different parts, eye at the center and eye wall at the periphery of the eye, right? So diameter, it ranges from 150 to 250 kilometers. So this is the diameter. When compared to the extratropical cyclones, the diameter is comparatively low. So that is there. And second aspect, we have to know about the eye wall. So eye wall, the periphery region. So it is a surrounding spiral system of strong winds. Yes, inward spiraling wind. That is what we call it as eye wall. Second one is it experiences intense upward movement of air. Yes, because of this spiraling movement only we are experiencing the updraft of the air mass. So upward movement of the air mass is very much needed. Then only cloud formation will be there. Then only rain will be there, right? So experience of intense updraft of the air mass. And finally, wind speed will be more. It can reach up to 250 kilometers per hour. The high velocity wind will be experienced only in the periphery region. And also heavy rainfall will be there. Because updraft is happening, cloud formation, condensation, and then rainfall will be there. So that's why we are having the heavy rainfall. So this is the characteristics of the eye wall, right? Now we have to know about the central region, that is nothing but the eye. It is a calm central region. So here we have to know why it is calm. So normally we know that in the mixer grinder, because of the rotation, the mixer particles will be surrounding at the periphery of the vessel, right? So here also, because of this rotation, the central region will be calm in nature, whereas the periphery will be violent in nature. So because of this reason, the central is calm in nature, and here there is a descendance of the air mass. So this we have to know why there is a descendance of air mass. So here it is rotating. So because of the rotation, we tend to experience inward pulling force, right? This is what we call it as centripetal force. So because of the rotation of the air column in the eye wall, we tend to experience the centripetal force. So because of this, the convergence of air mass tend to happen within the eye. So because of this convergence, the air tend to subside, converge and subside. So because of this reason, the descendance of air mass is happening in the eye region. And also it is characterized by the minimum wind speed because it is calm in nature, and the temperature is high. Yes, because this temperature is very much needed for the sustenance of cyclone itself, and relatively high humidity and clear sky. So this is important. This we have to understand. Why clear sky, right? So we know that during the ascendance of the air mass, during the ascendance, upward movement of the air mass, the air tends to cool and it tends to condense and leads to the formation of cloud. Ascendance, we can experience cloud formation. When descendance is happening, the increase in density will increase and temperature will increase, and because of this warming, it will dissolve the clouds. So because of this reason, we are having clear sky. So ascendance, cloud formation is possible. Descendance, it will evaporate or dissolve the cloud, and also because during descendance, the capacity of the air mass to hold more water will be there, right? That's why the condensed air mass will get absorbed into the air itself, right, in the vapor state. So because of this reason, clear sky and also high relative humidity will be there, because more water is getting absorbed as water vapor in the air itself. So because of this reason, high relative humidity is there. So conceptually, we have to know about why descendance is happening in the eye, and also why there is a presence of clear sky, and also we have to know why there is a high humidity in the I region, right? Now we have to know about the modification and decay. So it is also known as cyclolysis. So when the source of the warm moist air begins to get cut off, for example, when this cyclone reaches the land region, the warm source region will get cut off because the warm water presence will be in the ocean. If the cyclone reaches the land region, then it will get cut off from the source region, and also supply of moisture also will not be there. So cut off from the warm source region for the low pressure development, for the pressure gradient force, that will not be there, and also the supply of water should be very much important for the sustenance of the cyclone. So these two will get cut off, and because of this reason, like we are experiencing the cyclolysis. Apart from that, like we can also think from the perspective that when the cyclone moves over cold water, there is also possibility that it can get weakened. Next, we have an article related to the aspirational district program. So exam point of view, we can expect some direct question related to the aspirational district program itself in the prelims examination. So previously we had a question in the mains examination. In 2018 there was a question. So they wanted us to know the strategies for the transformation of aspirational districts, and also they wanted to know, or they wanted to explain the nature of CCC intervention for the success or for the transformation of aspirational districts. Even though this question is not directly related to the aspirational district program, it imbibes the aspects or strategies involved in the program. So that's why this topic is very important. We can also expect some prelims related questions in the upcoming examination. So that's why we are discussing this article. Coming to the context, the last Sunday, the Election Commission released the election results of 4 state assemblies. So in that, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi acknowledged the role of aspirational districts for the victory of Bharatiya Janata Party in 3 states. So this is the context of the article. Even though this article is political in nature, here we are going to discuss the content of aspirational district program. So aspirational district program, so basic details, this is the central government scheme launched in 2018 by the Niti Aayog. The objective or main aim of this program is to transform the most underdeveloped districts. Here, they will bridge the developmental gaps of the most underdeveloped districts. So this is the major idea or objective of the scheme. Coming to the working or coming to the functioning, it will select the most underdeveloped districts. So as of now, we are having 112 districts. These districts are selected based on 5 major themes. So health and nutrition, education, agriculture and water resource, financial inclusion and skill development, and finally basic infrastructure. Here the selection of indicators are very much important. Look at the indicator. The first set, so we are having the health and nutrition and the education. So health and nutrition and education is very much important. Here we have to see in the perspective of breaking the vicious cycle of poverty, right? So these two, giving the access to healthcare, giving the access to education is very much important. That too, here it comes under medium and long-term intervention in order to break the vicious cycle of poverty. So this is the first dimension in selecting the indicator. Second dimension is agriculture and water resource and financial inclusion and skill development. Here, the government consider the aspects of livelihood. So here it has to be seen in such a way that these two interventions, these two indicators are very much important as a immediate and short-term interventions to break the vicious cycle of poverty. So first set is for the medium and long-term aspiration or intervention, and second set is medium and short-term intervention to break the vicious cycle. So these are the 2 dimensions. So finally we are having another indicator is nothing but the basic infrastructure. So here this basic infrastructure will complement the above 2 sets. So these are the 5 indicators which we are having to select the most underdeveloped districts for the aspirational district program. right? Apart from that, I want to highlight that by selecting the 112 districts, we are highlighting the aspects of here. The program wanted to target the beneficiaries, that is one thing. And also second aspect, by having the broad 5 categories, it wanted to prioritize the most important basic necessities. So targeting is done on the one aspect, and another aspect we are doing the prioritization of the basic necessities. So those two aspects has to be highlighted in this program. So next we have to know about the CCC intervention. So here we have convergence, collaboration and competition. Here the word convergence is nothing but the convergence of central and state government schemes. The second, the word collaboration is nothing but the collaboration of center, state, nodal offices and also the district collectors and also the participation of the people. So here we have to know from the perspective of effective utilization of resources. So effective utilization of resources. So first aspect, we are effectively utilizing the fund by converging the scheme, and also we are effectively utilizing the human resources by enhancing the collaboration. So human resource, the effective utilization of human resource. So effective utilization of fund on one side and also effective utilization of human resource on the other side. So that's why this program highlights the need of convergence of the schemes, convergence of central and state government schemes, and also collaboration between the levels of government, central government and state government, and also collaboration between the departments. So as of now, we are working in siloed in nature. So this will affect the efficacy. So increasing the collaboration will increase the synergy. In this aspect, we can increase the efficiency of the service delivery, right? Apart from that, we have to know about the competition. So for that, we are having a ranking mechanism called a delta ranking. So here the word delta. So delta is nothing but the difference. So performance of a district when compared to the previous year. So this is the incremental change. The change or difference is what we meant by the word delta. So here competition is very much important to increase the competition between the aspirational districts, how far we are performing. Each and every district, the rate of performance, it will increase the competition, and also it will increase the aspiration to attain the midterm and long-term targets. So that's why the competition is very much important. So next we have to know about the implementation strategy. So here I have to highlight 3 aspects. One is monitoring, second one is capacity building, and finally including the innovative practices. So monitoring, so it is very important. Already we have the ranking mechanism, already we have the data collection mechanism under the delta ranking. So here monitoring will help us to know the progress. So by using this monitoring mechanism, monitoring the progress, we can ensure the accountability of the district level officials. So this is the first dimension. Second dimension is capacity building. So here capacity building of the district level officers are very much important. So here it is one of the important component in the implementation strategy. And finally, they wanted to include the idea of innovative practices. So best practices and creative practices, they are encouraging the district officials to implement the best practices across the world. So next we have to know about the significance. The first one is localization of the SDG goals. So yes, most of the indicators which we selected converge to the aspirations of sustainable development goals. So in this aspect, localization of SDG goals are possible. And second aspect is, it is known for its focused approach, because we are selecting the underdeveloped, that is most underdeveloped districts. In this aspect, we can fix the problem of regional inequality. So that is possible. And also this program is known for the holistic approach, because here the selection of indicators itself comprehensive in nature. It addresses both the short-term and immediate interventions, and also it also includes the aspects of medium as well as the long-term intervention. So that's why it is known for its holistic approach, and also it is known for its competitive spirit. Yes, under 5 major broad category, we are collecting the data based on 49 parameters. So here it encourages the collective spirit, the competitive spirits of development between the districts. It not only have the ranking between the aspirational districts, it also have the data of all the districts across the nation, so that it will increase the competitive spirits. So first they will address the gap between the aspirational districts, and also later once this gap is filled, then they aspire to reach the best district. So that is why it is known for competitive spirit. And finally, effective resource allocation, it is known for effective resource allocation. So resource allocation in terms of fund, and also resource allocation, effective resource allocation in terms of human resource is also there. So next, it is known for empowerment of local administration. Yes, this program highlights the need for the capacity building of district level officials, and also it is known for improved governance. Why? Because the decision making is done by data, and also the decision making is done by the outcomes. So because of this two reasons, so data based decision making and outcome based decision making, there is a improved transparency, improved accountability, and this reflects in increasing the efficiency. So that's why this program is known for improved governance. So apart from that, we have to know the challenges. So data accuracy. So for the effective planning and implementation, the accurate data is important. So data accuracy is still a concern. And second aspect, interdepartmental coordination. So interdepartmental coordination is highly critical for the successful implementation of the program. As of now, the existing mechanism or existing functioning between the departments, between the levels is highly siloed in nature. So bringing collaboration between the department is highly complex in nature. And third aspect, capacity building. Yes, capacity building. So we have to train the local level officials. So this is very much important. This capacity building was not detailed in nature. The mechanism for the training and the skill or upskilling for the district level officials was not mentioned properly. And also we have to think from the perspective of resources. So resource constraint is there. There is no extra budgetary support was given in this program. Here we were in a position to utilize the resources allocated in the existing state and central schemes. So resource constraint will be there. And finally, the infrastructure deficiency. So basic infrastructure deficiency will become a major hurdle for implementation of such an aspirational program. Coming to the next article, we have the need to transform agri-food system. So exam point of view, we can expect some question related to the problems, challenges which we are facing in the existing agri-food system. So that is possible, first dimension. And also we can think from the aspects of alternatives such as integrated farming and crop diversification. Those aspects also we can expect. So previously we had a question related to the declining average size of the land holding and its impact on agriculture. And also they came up with how far this problem can be tackled by using the contract farming and land leasing. And also they wanted us to make some critical analysis on this contract farming and land leasing. So this decline in the land holding, size of the land holding is one such problem of existing agriculture and food system. So likewise, we are having several other problems. So here in this article, we are going to know about the existing agricultural pattern and how this agricultural pattern will lead to the loss. So that we are going to know. So context of this article, recently the Food and Agricultural Organization released a report in that it mentioned that globally the agriculture and food system, because of the ill practices in the agriculture and the food system, so we are losing $10 trillion. So this is the number proposed by the Food and Agricultural Organization. And also specific to India, India is losing around 11% of the GDP. This means 1/5 of the GDP which we are losing because of the ill practices in the agriculture. So that is the problem. So number is very huge. So that we have to understand. So we are in a position to make some necessary changes in the agriculture and food system. That is very much important. So here, because of this ill practices, there is an increased incidence of poverty. We are experiencing the environmental problem, and also we are facing health related problem because of undernourishment and because of lack of unhealthy dietary practices. So from this context, we have to know about the impact of existing intensive agriculture and its impacts on the hidden caste. So first, data. Yes, because of the intensive agricultural practices, we are relying more on high yield varieties, especially paddy and wheat. Paddy and wheat, right? More reliance on two crops. That too, it constitutes more than 70% of the India's agricultural product. So two crops, 70%. So irrational proportion. So that we have to highlight. And this is because of the existing intensive agricultural practices, right? So here, because of this, it undermines the seed sovereignty because we are relying more on MNC companies for the seeds, and also we are dismantling the indigenous knowledge, practices and systems, and we are promoting monocultural practices. Yes, it is reflected because of this over reliance on paddy and wheat, and also in terms of the income level of the farmer, it is not at all helpful. So in 2013, the debt to asset ratio of the farmer's household in India is 630% higher than in 1992. So that we have to highlight. And also average monthly household income of a farming household is merely 10,000. So 10,816 rupees, right? It is very low. Apart from that, it is creating the health and nutritional problems, and also adverse ecological consequences are also there. So here, this impact, this hidden cost has to be seen in diverse perspective. So in terms of agriculture, so agriculture as a economic system that we have to think, yes, it is not sustainable. Why? Because seed sovereignty is not there, and also we are losing indigenous knowledge of agricultural practices, and also we are relying more on monocropping pattern. So those things will affect the sustainability of the agriculture in terms of economy, right? And also farmers' income, it is also not helpful. This existing pattern is not at all showing any improvement. See the numbers. So when compared to 1992, the debt to the income ratio, debt to the asset ratio is very high, and also household income is also comparatively very low. It is not at all helping, and we have to think from the perspective of health. Yes, we are relying more on pesticides, we are using more chemicals, we are polluting the resources, and because of that, health is getting affected. And also because of the pollution, because of the chemical utilization, health is affected. And on the other way, nutritional aspect also we are suffering. So malnutrition is there. So existing agriculture and food practices led to the increase in the undernourishment, malnourishment. Health aspect is also not doing good. And finally, ecology aspects. We are polluting. Yes, we are polluting the soil. We are polluting the water. And also soil erosion is there, and increased water extraction is there, and because of that, water scarcity is there, right? Apart from that, we are facing the problem of greenhouse gas emission, right? And also finally, biodiversity is also affected. So here, biodiversity is affected because of one aspect we can relate with the monocropping, and other aspect we can relate with the over reliance on chemicals. So in these two aspects, it will affect the biodiversity. So monocropping lead to the diversity of the crops, other crops. So that will be there, and also chemicals, utilization of chemicals will kill the small animals. So that will be there. So on the aspects of agriculture, on the aspects of farmer income, on the aspects of health, and on the aspects of ecological loss, we are facing huge problem, and this led to the hidden caste. So that we have to understand. Now we have to know about the role of government policies. So we have the National Food Security Act, and also we are having a PDS system, and also we have midday meal scheme, etc., etc. So the existing government policy is favoring only two crops, rice and wheat. So because of this, the FCI is procuring 341 lakh million tons of wheat and 500 lakhs metric ton of rice. So 340 million tons, lakh million tons, and 500 lakh million tons of rice, right? So here I have to validate that the rice and wheat increased by nearly 20% and 56%. So in terms of procurement, it increased by 20% and 56%. But when it comes to the coarse grains, look at the number 3.49. So here it is 341, here it is 3.49. So look at the difference of the major crops, that is wheat and rice, and then the coarse cereals. The difference is very high. So the procurement for jowar, bajra, ragi, maize and barley, it constitute only 1% of the total food grain procurement. Right? So this is the problem. So area under cultivation is also getting reduced, and when compared to 1966-67, so currently it dropped by 20%. Right? So existing policy is also problematic in nature. So the procurement is favoring more on rice and wheat, so that those things are in the number of 300-500 lakh metric ton, whereas in terms of coarse grain, it is only 3.49 lakh metric ton, and it constitutes only 1% of the total grain procurements, and it is affecting in terms of areas. So that we have to know. So now we have to think from the perspective of what can be the solution, right? So here, crop diversification. So here we have to think from the perspective, the article itself highlighted that the role of crop diversification will be a comprehensive solution for the existing problem. So diversified multi-cropping system has to be encouraged, and also the article itself highlighted the best practices of Karnataka, that is Akadi Salu. It involves intercropping with combination of legumes, pulses, oil seeds, trees and shrubs and livestock. So integrated farming. So integrate, they highlighted, they emphasized the integrated farming, and the article itself is highlighting that the crop diversification or promoting intensive agriculture can be one such solution to address the existing problem. So here the benefits of crop diversification: yes, crop provision from the commercial crop will be there. Yes, income can also be secured, because commercial crop will also be a part of the crop diversification and integrated farming. And also food and fodder production will also be there, and also ecosystem services will also be there. For example, nitrogen fixation and a pest trap. Nitrogen fixation we can relate with the legume crop growing, and also support the local biodiversity, and also improve the soil health, increase the nutrition, because we are diversifying, we are not relying on one crop. So here coarse cereals will be there, so that nutritional aspect is also getting satisfied, right? So soil health aspect, because we are fixing the nitrogen, so soil enrichment is also happening, and also this intercropping or crop diversification will reduce the soil degradation, and also it will reduce the soil erosion as well. So in this aspect, the crop diversification will reduce the existing problem in the food and agriculture system. Coming to the next article, we have corporate bond market. The exam point of view, we can expect some question related to the capital market, and also we can expect some direct question related to the corporate bond market itself, and also we can expect some question related to the credit default swap. So moving to the context, in the past 5 years until March 2023, the corporate bond market exhibited 9% growth, 9%. So it is very high, and also it reached to 43 lakh crore. So now the government is assuming that it will reach to 100 lakh crore by 2030. So the rate of growth is more, and also we are expecting, or we are predicting that it will reach to 100 lakh crore by 2030. So this is the context of this article. So from this context, we have to know about what is meant by bond, and also we have to know why this annual increase is more, and also we have to know what are the challenges and concerns associated with this corporate bond market. So first we have to know about the bonds. So bonds are issued by the government and the corporations. So who will be issuing such bonds? Organizations such as government and corporations. So reason, to raise money, right? So here the buyer will give the money, and in return they'll be getting some certificate that the buyer gave this much money. So for that they'll be getting periodic interest payments. So this is the advantage of buying the bonds. So similarly, corporate bond is also same. So here corporate institutions will give or issue the bonds. So here the reason is that they'll raise money for building new plants, purchasing equipments, and also to grow the business. So this is the idea behind the corporate bonds, right? So next we have to know about the drivers of the growth in corporate bond market. So reason for increase in growth. So first aspect is push in the capital expenditure. So look at the number. India's gross capital formation as a percentage of GDP has been in the upward trends, which means spending for the capital formation is increasing. So it reached to 33.3%, which means it is in the upper trend, which means the capital expenditure is more. So this is one reason. Second aspect, the infrastructure sector's attractiveness. Just government itself actively promoting infrastructure related schemes. So recently the government came up with a plan called PM Gati Shakti program. So in that it is committed for 110 lakh crore for 5 years up to 2027. So push in the infrastructure sector. That too from the government side itself is an additional advantage for the growth of corporate bond market. And finally, we have to think from the perspective of financialization of savings. So previously, the retail buyers tend to invest their money in banks. They'll put it in the fixed deposit. They'll buy gold. So investments will be in that aspects. Now slowly those investments are coming to the bond market. They are looking into the corporate bond market as well. So look at the number. The share, it increases from 47% in 2010 to 60% in 2022. So that is the reason. Apart from that, I want to highlight one more fact that the infrastructure accounts over 25% of the corporate bond issuance in 2022-23. So capital expenditure, that is one aspect, and infrastructure development, push in the infrastructure development, and third aspect, change in the mindset of the people that they are moving towards the bond sector rather than relying more on fixed deposits in banks and gold. And also one more fact is that infrastructure itself account 1/4 of the total bond market. So that we have to. So now challenges. So lack of deeper and more liquid markets. So the problem is that if I buy the bond, if I bought the bond, it is not readily sold it cannot be readily sold in the market. It is highly illiquid in nature. So if I was in need of money, it is not possible for me to exchange the money by using this corporate bond. So existing market or the existing economy or economic system is not facilitating the liquidity of the bond market because demand is not there, and also the trust on the corporate bond itself comparatively. So second aspect is risk aversion. So the corporate bond itself is having the possibility of risk. So because of long-term investment, and also it will be issued by the corporate players. So there is a possibility of fluctuations in the income level because of the global shocks and the economical constraints. So risk, the possibility of risk is very high. So risk aversion attitude is there in the mindset of the investors. So this is also another problem. And third aspect is complex regulatory framework. the process of accessing to such corporate bonds is also time consuming in nature. So that is the problem. And finally, the lack of financial awareness, particularly understanding about the bonds, understanding about the corporate bonds, and where to buy those bonds, how it will function. So those things, the awareness, the financial awareness is comparatively low in the Indian market. So this is also one such challenge will leads to reducing or seen as a concern for the development of corporate bond market in India. So next we have an article, the cyber crime cases up by 25%. So exam point of view, we can expect some questions related to the cyber crimes. So mains examination, we can expect some questions related to the cyber crimes, and this number can be used to justify the answer. And also we can expect some prelims related questions related to NCRB data and also crimes in India reports. Now previously there was a question, discuss the different types of cyber crimes and measures required to be taken to fight the menace. So types of cyber crimes. So here conceptual question, so we have to know about the types of the cyber crime and also the required government measures. So that was the question. So similarly we can expect some question in the upcoming examination as well. So that's why we are discussing this article. So currently the NCRB the crime in India report was released. So in that it highlighted that the cyber crime witnessed a sharp rise of 24% in 2022, and that too because of the cyber fraud. So coming to the key statistics, so overall increase from 52,974 cases to 65,893 cases in 2023. So which is 24% increase. So the percentage is very high, 24%. The increase is very high. So one is crime is the absolute number of crime, the occurrences of crime is very high, one interpretation. Second interpretation is that the reporting of such crime is also increasing, and because of this reason we are getting this increase, 24%. So the fraud prevalence, so most of the cases are related to fraud, 64.8%. And second one is about crime against women. So it accounted 21.8% of the cases. It relates to pornography and obscene content, etc. Right? So two things. Fraud constitutes the major aspects. So taking money, cheating for the financial aspects. So those things constitute the major number, 64.8%. So next to that, we are having the crime against women. And also we have the crime against children. It is very few, but still it is there. So here it has to think from the perspective that whether the actual reporting is happening or not, that we are still a question mark that we have to think. So in terms of geographical aspect, Telangana registered more cases, 15,297 cases, followed by Karnataka and Uttar Pradesh. So now we have to know about the need of R. So we need to strengthen the legal dimensions. Law, the legal aspects are the existing legislations has to be remodified in such a way that it is competent enough to tackle such upcoming cyber related crimes that is needed. And also we have to work on the international cooperation because it is cross jurisdictional in nature. Internet itself cross jurisdictional in nature. So jurisdictional problem will be there. For that we need international cooperation, right? Second aspect, a technological dimension, because the accused itself using the advanced technology. So in order to contain such problems, the technological capabilities of the state has to be improved more. This gap is the reason why we are able to bridge the problem. So in order to address or in order to reduce the cyber related crimes, the state itself have to spend more on increasing the infrastructural capabilities of the state machineries. So technological dimension is there. And social dimension, because awareness, the fraud, most of the cases of the fraud is happening because of lack of awareness. So usage of lack of awareness in using the internet in a safer manner is not there. So community engagement and promoting the ethical behavior. So here promoting the ethical behavior will reduce the occurrence of the crime itself from the creation end. So that we have to address. So we have legal dimension, we have technological dimension, and then we have social dimensions. So the government have to work on all three dimensions to reduce the occurrences of cybercrime. So specifically, we need to work on few things. One is protect children. So here we are doing by doing the education. So online safety education has to be given to the children, and also we have to encourage the parental supervision so that we can reduce the occurrences of crime against children. Second aspect, cyber bullying. It is also an important problem. So here we have to come up with the clear policies, and also we have to give the intervention training to the officials. So those things are very much important. And finally, we have to address the sextortion, child pornography, and online scams. So here we are going to come up with an approach of legislation. Yes, we have to create a stringent legislation against sextortion. It is highly problematic in nature. Stringent punishment has to be there to contain the sextortion. So law has to be modified, and also we have to raise the awareness, and also we have to enforce the child pornography related law, right? And finally, consumer protection fraud perspective, we have to strengthen the consumer protection law, and also we have to provide financial literacy training. So specifically, we are facing the problems: crime against child, cyber bullying is there, and finally sextortion, pornography, and then fraud. So each and every aspect, how we are going to intervene. So those things we discussed. So now we have to know about the major government initiatives. So we have legislative measures enacting Information Technology Act. Yes, it is inadequate in order to tackle all the cyber related problems. So we need a new legislation to tackle the existing emerging problem of cybersecurity. Yes, we already have the legislation, but it is inadequate. And second aspect, institution, we have the certain computer emergency response team. So it's a technical team to intervene into the cyber related problems. And also we are having National Cyber Coordination Center for the real-time processing of the data. And also we have Cyber Swachhata Kendra. It is a scheme. So it is a comprehensive scheme for the capacity development, for the promotion of awareness, and also to enhance the cooperation and collaboration between the departments. And also we have National Cyber Security Policy 2013, and also we have to think from the perspective of 2022 policy as well, right? As a whole, we have legislation measure, we have policy measure, we have institutional measure, and also finally we have infrastructure measures such as labs. Let's try some of the prelims practice question. Consider the following statements with reference to the Crimes in India report. The report is published by National Crime Record Bureau. Yes, it is correct. The fraud was the most prevalent cybercrime motive, accounting 64.8% of all cases. Yes, it is true. Andhra Pradesh had the highest number of cybercrime cases. No, it is not Andhra Pradesh, it is Telangana. So after Telangana, so we are having Karnataka and Uttar Pradesh. So third statement is wrong. So statement 1 and 2 is correct. So which of the following statement are correct? So 1 and 2. Option is A. Yes, option A is correct. So second question. On which of the following criteria does government choose to consider a district as aspirational district under its aspirational district program? So health and nutrition, yes, it is correct. Education, yes. Agriculture and water resource, and financial inclusion and skill development, yes, it is there. It is basic infrastructure, yes, all 5 are correct. So option is Delhi. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Yes, option is Delhi. Third question. So consider the following statements. The usage of chemical fertilizers and pesticides is an essential part of zero budget natural farming. No, it is wrong. So in the zero budget natural farming, we are not at all using the chemical fertilizer and pesticides. So we are using the natural means to enrich the soil and natural means to contain the problem of pest. So first statement is wrong. Second statement, the cost incurred through this method are significantly higher. No, it is not there. So comparatively, the cost incurred on this method is comparatively lower. Why? Because we are not using the expensive chemical fertilizers and the pesticides. That's why the cost is comparatively low. So coming to the third question. So consider the following statements. The usage of chemical fertilizer and pesticides is an essential component of zero budget and natural farming. No, it is not correct, because in the zero budget natural farming, we use natural means to enrich the soil and natural means to contain the problem of pest. So first statement is wrong. Second statement, the cost incurred through this method are significantly higher. No, it is wrong. Why? Because we are not using chemical fertilizer and pesticides. So this itself will reduce the cost of this agricultural practice. So second statement is also wrong. Third statement, the yield produced through this method are higher. Yield produced through this method are higher. No. So here this is the problem. So when compared to the high yield varieties, we are using the natural varieties here. So because of this reason, so the yield of this particular farming is comparatively low. So this statement is also wrong. So which of the above statements are correct with respect to the zero budget natural farming? So all three statements are wrong. So option is C, none of the above. Yes, option is C. So next question, consider the following statements. Statement 1, cyclones do not form within the 5-degree latitudes of the equator. Yes, statement is correct. The statement 2, near the equator, the Coriolis effect is weak, inhibiting the cyclone formation. Yes, this is also correct, because for the cyclone formation, the presence of Coriolis effect is very much important. Then only the circulation of the cyclone will get set in. So first statement is correct and second statement is the correct reason for the first statement. So coming to the answer, which one of the following is correct in respect to the above statements? Both the statements 1 and 2 are correct, and statement 2 is the correct explanation of the statement. Yes, option is A. Yes, option is A. So which of the following is not the factor that is expected to contribute the growth of corporate bond market in India? A, increasing capital expenditure by the government. So this is one of the reason. So this is one of the important reason, because the gross capital formation and its ratio with the GDP is comparatively high and it is in the upper trend, which means that is the reason why we are experiencing the increase in the corporate bond market. So attractiveness of infrastructure reason, this is also correct. Third statement, deflationary situation in the economy, this is wrong. So option D, financialization of the investment. Yes, so financialization of the investments from the retail sector is also one of the reason for the improvement in the corporate bond market. So option is C. Yes, option is C. Now let's try one mains practice question. So current practices in agriculture are considered not viable given the hidden cost and the concomitant crisis in income level. Critically analyze. So here we can start with the intro of green revolution and its impact on production. So we have to relate the green revolution and the production it increased. So because it is very important, it is very significant for increasing the production of cereals. So that is very important. So here coming to the body parts, so we have to classify the impact on 4 aspects. Agriculture, we can also include the aspects of health and also farmer income, and finally ecology. So here relate the aspects of non-viability and the hidden cost in the dimensions of 4 aspects. So agriculture, impact on health, and also impact on farmer income, and finally the impact on ecology. And in the conclusion, so think from the perspective of change. Yes, we are losing more than 11% of GDP because of this hidden cost. Give some numbers and also add some alternatives such as crop diversification or zero emission or zero budget natural farming. Those can be an alternatives, and also we can include the idea of integrated farming as a solution to come out from the problem of existing intensive agriculture. So that is the end of the session. Thanks for watching. So do like, share and comment the video, and don't forget to subscribe the channel. Thank you.